Well, welcome to the Empire State of Mind with Ryan, and I think that's Tito. He looked like he shaved this week. Yeah, you get rid of the caveman beard going on over there.
Yeah, man. Got rid of it. We're starting to get a little itchy. You know what I mean?
Thought you were keeping that until the hot streak was over with.
Yeah, and then I looked myself in the mirror and I couldn't even really see my face. So I was like, nah, this thing needs to go.
Let's see, Ryan's mustache is gone, your beard's gone, and I still need to shave my little terrorist thing going on over here. Well, what do we have, gentlemen? Another very interesting series win. And honestly, no matter what way you look at it, I'm actually not going to knock the Phillies as much as I normally do. They're a different team ever since they got rid of Shithead. And our pitching just put him out. Scherzer wasn't on his A game, but he battled through. Same with Bassett and DeGrom. Pay the man.
Yep.
Why, hello, Rudy. How are you today? Tito, what are your thoughts on this series?
Fantastic, man. We come across a hot Phillies team, man, because really they were hot, scoring runs, pitching well. Obviously, they beat us the first game of their series, 2-1, but went on to take the last two and take two of three. Really hot team, and we stay hot, stay winning series. We still haven't lost a series in the division, have we, guys?
Nope.
Still looking good in the division, and not only that, two shutouts. Fantastic pitching by DeGrom and today Bassett,
Yep.
who both got the win. So that's fantastic, man.
Give it to Trevor Williams coming in today, pitching multiple innings, holding that. Ryan, do you ever find it a little more sweet that the Mets offense wasn't there the first two games of the series, but they beat up on one of their old teammates?
I mean, it's always a little sweet when you knock the guy who left for a ton of money. But I'll just say what I've been saying all along. It's the pitching. It's all about pitching. You have Seth Lugo coming into form at the right time. At the beginning of the year, he was the guy I did not want to see come out of the pen. He is looking good. We have the best starting pitching in baseball, and then we have the best closer in baseball with Diaz. Diaz walks in, and even in his worst outing of the year, he still got his way out. So, pitching wins championships.
Agreed.
Should
It's
we?
really funny, Ryan. Like, I can't blame Wheeler for going for the money because at least he didn't tell them he was going to accept the qualifying offer, then bolt.
Oh yeah.
Not to cut you off, Rudy. Should we go after Aaron Judge? No. And this is only my reason. I'll let Tito and Ryan give their take on it. We're going to have to pay DeGrom a ton of money. We want to keep Nimmo in center field. We're going to have to pay Alonso soon. And we have young players coming up. And the way Vientos is playing, they've been starting Beatty in left field. And Beatty came out with a rocket to throw a guy out at the plate the other day. And I'd rather have Nimmo leading off in center field with he sets the tone, he gets on base, and we have Pete Alonso there in the cleanup. So Judge is going to cost too much money with the other players we need, and I don't want him. You guys?
Tito, you can go first.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. And this is actually a good segue to what I was going to ask you guys because in 90% chat, we actually brought up the expiring contract of DeGrom and everybody else that's going to be a free agent. This is a really long list. We have bigger fish to fry than actually going after Judge. We got to re-sign our own guys, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
And the first three that are on the top of this list are a must. I mean, honestly, which is Degrom, Diaz, and Nimmo.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we
I mean,
we
Pete's
we
getting a qualifying offer this year. He's arbitration eligible. We don't have to worry about him this year, but he will be in the near future.
yeah, yeah.
Sorry,
But
Tito. I didn't mean to cut
look
you
at this list. No, it's okay. Look at this list. I'm gonna give you guys the rundown of the list. Degrom. Diaz, Bassett, May, Walker, Nimmo, Givens, Naquin, Ottavino, Lugo, Williams, Vogelbeck, and that's basically all the names that are known. Big
I thought
names.
Bassett agreed to an
All
extension
those are
earlier
free
in the
agents.
year.
That was this year to avoid arbitration.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Nimmo, by the way, to answer this question, from what I've seen, probably about 20 million a year. So it's going to be.
Um, no, keep going, Ryan. I just have a thought with that one.
So he's not going to accept a hometown offer because he has Scott Boris. The only time Boris gives you a hometown value is if he knows your career is over. See Steven Strasburg. But I don't expect a hometown. But I think he's value wise a great player for that number. He's not a superstar, but he's the everyday guy that one day we'll be trying to acquire again. So he's worth upwards of 20. If he wants, I mean, I hope he doesn't ask for more than Conforto did, but I would take him 1,000 times over Conforto.
So Conforto versus Nimmo. Nimmo about 5 years ago, I would have said he was a $10 to $15 million player, but just the way inflation is in that chode Scott Boras, and I make fun of him, but the guy gets his clients ridiculous contracts, so you got to give it to the guy that he does what he does. But Conforto, if Conforto stayed his first 2 years in the league where he would take the ball the other way, he was playing gap to gap, he wasn't trying to hit home runs. Conforto might have remained a high value to the team, but he became a high strikeout guy. He became an all or nothing home run hitter, and no, that's not the way this new team is going. And I'm honestly glad Conforto's not there.
He's a less talented Jeremy Burnitz.
Ouch.
Dang.
Why?
Good
It's
comparison,
true.
though.
Jeremy Burnitz at least
So
hung around
Tito,
the league forever.
yeah, Tito, you look at that list you gave. Nimmo's going to get
Mhm.
20. Diaz is going to get 20 to 25. DeGrom's going to get upwards of 40. Um, Bassett, the other guys are going to be, I don't want to say value players, but they probably won't get over 10 million a year. But
No.
Steve is going to pay. I mean, they projected. There was an article I was reading in the New York Post that they're projecting the Mets, if they sign everybody, their payroll to be about 341 million next year, up from 276 this year. And the really important part of that is what this team has done this year. And I'm not talking about on the field. What this team has done with the fans, with the way they gel together, with they honestly enjoy being around each other.
Yep.
And you missed one very important name on that list, Tito. They need to resign. Come
Mhm.
on, Vogelback.
No, he listed him.
Mhm.
Oh, I didn't hear Vogelback, but
Vogelback.
he's a guy I want. He's the new Bartolo.
Yeah, he's also got to realize that he
Yeah.
should stick with the Mets because he has like marketability here. Whereas if he goes other places, he's the new Bartolo. He can make all of his money just selling stuff, and have a very comfortable life for himself.
I really did enjoy
He's
his
quickly
interview where he
become
was talking about. I really did enjoy his
he's quickly
interview where he
become
was
a
talking
fan
about.
favorite.
I'm
Yep,
sorry, Tito. I'm got a delay here, so I don't mean to keep cutting you off.
it is
But
funny though.
No, it's okay.
you guys listened to Vogelback's interview where he's like, going from team to team is one thing, but it's always about the same. But coming to the Mets, it's been the easiest clubhouse to come into, that everybody gets along. They make it easy on him. Nobody gave him crap coming in. And the fact that the boys asked him to play Milkshake for his walk up song on Woman Appreciation Day, that was
That was
freaking
pretty awesome.
hilarious.
Yeah, it was really good.
What the boys want, the boys
Yeah.
get.
Yeah,
So, Ryan,
he's good here, man. And that interview was great. Uh, he definitely should stick around. He's become a fan favorite really, really quick. People love him,
Oh yeah.
and he said as soon as he stepped into the clubhouse, he saw why the team was good because it wasn't really any small cliques, and they're all here for the same reason, which is a ring.
Yeah, and my honest opinion is him, Naquin and Ruff, whoever, like, just go with Naquin and Vogelbach on the DH. But they kind of extended this lineup a little bit because now you have a little bit of power protection behind Pete, which extends the lineup to get to McNeil. And nothing against Vogelbach, really. I'm not trying to shit on the guy, but hitting behind Pete doesn't hurt. You're going to see pitches to hit.
No,
So,
it's
and he had the beautiful solo shot today, which
it was nice beating up the Phillies instead of having to have a heart attack. I still have no idea
I
why we sent Marte the other night, but in that ninth inning, sending Marte on the double play, what became a double play. The outfielder was practically on the dirt. He was running forward as he caught the ball. You were not going to beat. No matter who, that could have been Billy Hamilton. He's out.
you
I
know
understand the send. I don't get the send, but at least we can say one thing. Correa has been one thing, if not anything, all year, and it's consistent and
Yep.
aggressive.
Yep.
So
oh
I
Joey
understand why
Cora.
he did it.
It is what it is. We got another. This is a stretch of the season that's just really going to show, are the Mets really a World Series contender? Braves, Phillies, Braves, Yankees. It's a chance for them to actually, if they beat up on the Braves again right now, it's a chance for them to. I don't want to say put the East in the bag, but
Oh,
you put more distance between them and the Braves coming into September. Rudy, let me ask you this question: with everybody that Tito just listed that we have to pay, how much would you pay Aaron Judge to fit in this lineup, and where would you play him?
And why would doesn't really fit the chemistry of this lineup?
let's see.
You know, like that that's a big thing. Look at what this lineup is doing. They're playing small ball. They don't hit a lot of home runs. We're not here to hit home runs. The teams that hit home runs generally don't wind up winning the World Series. Pitching does. We have pitching,
So currently,
and we just went against the hot team.
Pete Alonso is by far our biggest strikeout victim. He currently has 95 strikeouts. Judge is already at 122. He's on pace to break his. No, sorry. He won't break his own strikeout record, which is 208 times in one season. But he averages around 155 strikeouts per year. And that is usually in a pretty well protected lineup by Stanton and usually at least one other big bat. He is an all or nothing. Currently, he's batting 300, which is great. But he is a big swinger who strikes out a lot. And this team is not built to strike out all the time because they want you to, like we've been saying, play small ball, play base to base. It works so much better than just, I mean, you can either pitch around him or just strike him out. Yeah, he's a great home run every once in a while, but I don't want. I would rather have Pete Alonso than Aaron Judge.
So
Yep.
Rudy, here's an interesting question for you. Judge is having a career year for himself. How many times in any sport have you ever watched a guy have a career year on a contract season, sign a massive contract, and shit the bed the next couple years?
Let's not say that because
It's
I
happened
hope
a lot.
Diaz is great.
Yeah, I don't want to jinx any of the Mets that we're going to
We
resign,
have
but
several Mets who are just talking about having great seasons, and we're like, oh yeah, you got to re-sign him to a decent deal, and it's like, oh yeah, look at that idiot having a great year. Come on, man. No, I'm not even
All
like
right.
my problem isn't Judge this year. Judge this year, yeah, but just he's a solid player. Don't I don't think he fits into the team. I'm tired of it would be another time when we go out and we buy a big name and it doesn't fit and it doesn't work out. And I like what management is
Roberto
doing.
Alomar, Mo Vaughn,
Mo
names
Yeah,
you
I
Vaughn,
throw
yeah.
all over the place.
the Mets have always done better with non I mean, great players like Carlos Delgado, but Delgado wasn't the biggest name in all of baseball. So I mean,
I like John. I like John's answer about players. He said 90%. That's great. But hey, Rudy, to go also with what you're saying, man. Judge rejected 7 years, 213.5 million.
yeah.
That's 30 million a year. He's looking upwards of 35 to 38 a year. So that means you giving him this money and not us able to sign DeGrom for the rest of his career or even an Alonso for the rest of his career. So yeah, that's something to think about, man. Would you rather have Judge or would you rather have Alonso? Would you rather overpay a DH hitter or would you rather have Alonso that's going to be our captain in a couple of years?
I mean, Judge is not a DH
Also,
hitter.
at the start of
Judge plays center field. He's a solid fielder. He's got a great arm. I will not take anything away from him as a player. He's a really great player. But I mean, as John just said, the Mets need to get younger, which very true. Uh,
Judge
he's
will be
20.
31 at the start of next season.
Judge will be 31 at the start of next season. He wants at least 6 or 7 years. Do you want to lock up a guy for probably $30 million a year till the age of 38? I say no because it rarely works out. We have one of those contracts right now. Um, and, is Lindor, and we had to make a splash sign, which is different than, just buying a big bat who is, great player, but I don't want to have him locked up at 38. I don't want a power hitter locked up till 38. So
Look,
that
the outfield situation, I honestly see the Mets outfield situation going this way. Right field, I'm really not going to question on, but they're probably re-sign Nimmo, and within 4 years, if Alex Ramirez pans out their top
mhm,
outfield prospect the way they want, he'll come into center field, and Nimmo at that time will be getting a little bit older, and they'll move him to a corner outfield,
yep.
and that's honestly what I see the Mets outfield doing right now.
Yeah, I would rather than signing a Judge, I would rather lock up DeGrom and Diaz because that'll be about the same price as signing Judge. Well, no,
Yeah.
I
sorry.
think DeGrom's going to go
It
for more than what Judge is going
sorry. Yeah,
to get.
no. I give me Nimmo and Diaz. It's going to be a little bit more expensive for the two of them, but you can't sign um, Aaron Judge and get either of those guys.
So here's the other side of that conversation that we were having. We were talking about the contract that should be offered to Degrom. You know, a lot of people in 90% were saying 5 years. He's 34, going to be 35, going to 50. I mean, going into 40 for 5 years. I don't think so.
My
I
only
think they should
issue,
probably offer about 2 to 3 years and about I would say about 90. You know what I
I would
mean? That's about right there.
I would rather a more expensive, shorter contract. I love Degrom. I
Hmm.
love the way he pitches. My problem is his health has been a real concern, and I'd rather just pay the man a lot of money and get him for 3 years than sign him to a 5 year
There's
deal.
there's probably only one team that's going to compete with the Mets, and that's Atlanta, just because of DeGrom being close to DeLand, Florida, where he's from. Grew up a Braves fan. But Ryan, as opposed to Ryan's comment, not opposed, but to agree with, yeah, you get it. You sign him to a three-year deal, go him to 37. You give him incentives, team player options that if he stays healthy and he's dominating, he can keep. Because at 37, he's not going to sign another massive dollar amount. So you give him something with a player option or a team option. That way he can continue as long as he's healthy and dominating the way he does. So he gets his money, he gets his short term deal that could possibly turn longer, and he gets to stay with the team his entire career, which he has mentioned several times that he wouldn't mind doing.
Hmm.
Now,
I think
here's the fun
I think
part.
actually the only team that may outbid the Mets or may go after him is L.A.
That's
Dodgers.
that's possible. I mean, it's impossible to predict anything right now. I mean, when you do that,
Yeah.
you end up like Bleacher Report, who's saying that Nimmo's going to sign with Seattle for a massive deal. And I'm like, why would he go to Seattle? They're not going to turn around and be a contender next year for the World Series. I don't think he's going to like. Oh, so the one thing I always hear from Bleacher Report and all these others, which Pat kind of said, oh, to be closer to home. Not every player wants that. Sometimes they value
Yeah,
being part of a team
we'll
more
go to
than they do.
Colorado if that's the case.
Well, I mean, Seattle's not far from him either. But it's just
Yeah.
the idea of anywhere but New York is better. It's what they do to all these players who come out of the Mets like, oh, they don't want to be a Met, and you're like, why? If you tell me it's because of the
Fair.
taxes, like totally agree. But if you say it's
So
just
here's
because like,
some. Sorry, Ryan.
no, go
I
ahead.
do have a delay. That's why I don't keep cutting people off today.
I know.
So here's something for everybody that's watching today and listening. And I want you all to chime in on this. I'm calling this new little thing we're going to do every now and then called free floating hostility. Basically, it could be anything within the sport that you're bored with, tired of, or pissed at. And originally, I was going to go with the automatic runner in extra innings. But something ticked me off a couple days ago. And that happened to be our old friend Noah Syndergaard.
Hmm.
Where
What
Noah
about him this year?
Syndergaard's talking to the New York media, and it's not like he signed for the Yankees for 10 years. He just needed to get away from New York and take a little bit of a break. Whether there's truth in that or not, it sounded like such a bullshit cop out statement.
I mean, he signed with the Angels. It's not as if he went. In my opinion, he's just trying to copy Nolan Ryan. Mets, Angels. If he goes to the Astros next, because his hero is Nolan Ryan as well. But I just think that was the only team that was dumb enough to offer him that kind of money for 1 year. He hasn't pitched he's more injured than Degrom, and it's not even funny because he's unlike Degrom, who ticked up in fastball speed. Syndergaard's gone down every year, like 2 to 3 miles an hour. Within 3 years, he's gonna be throwing in mid 80s.
That's what he was referring to, though. He was saying, I had to get away from New York where you're under the microscope because with my velocity dropping a little bit, it would have been harder to concentrate and work through it. And that's what he was going
No,
with the whole needing a break thing. And
he's
that's why I
he's
just kind of.
he's shitty at holding runners. He constantly he doesn't have a good mentality on the mound. The second you start hitting him, he just gets frazzled. He's very prone to give up the big inning. Listen. I love the dude. I desperately wanted him to resign because I thought somebody might be able to fix him, but he's another guy who never figured out how to be a pitcher. He's a hard thrower. The second his mile per hour comes down, he gets hit, and I have no idea how a guy who does not pitch from the windup, he just pitches from the stretch the entire time. How the hell does he know how to hold a runner? So
Let's
anyway,
see,
And
John.
yeah,
That's
with
really
John.
funny. John, that's really funny that, yeah, he's bumming around that. I have his jersey. Ryan has too. I love the guy. When he verbally accepted the qualifying offer, I was happy. That's the only reason I'm kind of really ticked off with everything he's saying is because he turned around, verbally agreed, left. Seems like he cares more about his book club and making fun of people on Twitter than actually pitching. So, John, that's the only reason why I'm against him. Sorry, Tito.
No, yeah, I was going to John too, and I was saying, yeah, he's talking about getting out of the limelight because he's throwing not as hard or not as fast, whatever. That's total bullshit. He wants to get out of the limelight because he you know, does more on with his fingers on his phone than he does pitching. So I call BS with that man. He tweets and all that to get the limelight and talk back to people. So I'm actually glad he's not here. I have his jersey too, and I'm glad he's not here. Our pitching staff is great this year, and he's not a part of it. So he definitely is bumming.
Anything annoying you guys lately in the game?
Yeah. Now I'm gonna go with how about I don't know if you guys saw a post on 90% Mets. Uh, the Phillies announcers talking shit about the way we play ball because our average velocity off the bat on four of our hits were like 63, 69, 70, and like 72 or something like that. And the Phillies announcers were like, these guys are making contact, we're making soft contact, making basically excuses on how the Mets play and why we're beating the Phillies. That really ticked me off today. Isn't baseball a
Now,
game of hit it when there ain't? You know what I mean?
yeah. Now to be fair with that one, the only reason they were probably going after us is Keith Hernandez' comment. That's it.
Yeah,
That
that
was
is
probably
true.
their way of shooting
Pete,
back at the Mets.
yeah, there's nothing quite like trying to get back at a former batting champion and 13-time Gold Glove winner, uh, star
A
of
guy that should be
Seinfeld.
in the Hall of Fame. And, hey, you forgot. Hey, you forgot MVP. Come on,
That's
or
true.
co MVP.
MVP, two-time World Series champion.
Yeah.
There's nothing quite like going after that guy for his comments. I mean, you can do it, but I don't recommend it. Um, yeah. So
John said he named
Right.
his cat after Syndergaard. Did you name him Noah Syndergaard or Thor? What did you go with?
I wasn't sure. I thought he said that in reference to Keith Hernandez.
Oh, so yeah, well, true. Who did you name him after?
John, was it after Keith, Haji, or Thor?
But what do you got,
John has.
Brian? What do you got to say?
What's pissing me off? Just Noah. All right, Noah's good. That was a good name. What can I say? What's pissing me off these days in baseball? Uh, I ain't got much right now. I still hate the runner on second, but baseball finally did something right by getting rid of the. When I've been watching when we played the doubleheader, I was thanking God we no longer have 7 inning doubleheaders. So I've been a little bit happier. We're winning, and I'll take my frustrations out when they're here, but I'm good right now.
Well, that brings us to something positive then. All right, Tito, this is something Ryan and I talked about the other day. And we wanted to kind of go into other stuff than just reviewing the series and the games we're just watching because we do that. It just kind of keeps being the same old, same old.
Mm-hmm.
So I was talking to Ryan about throughout Mets history, who has been to you either the most important free agent signing or trade acquisition? What meant the most to the team?
Shit. One that's obviously glaring. Piazza.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that was huge. That was a dude when that happened. Because don't forget, he was traded to the Marlins first, and then he played. I want to say 2 games, 3 games, maybe at the
Yeah,
most, and then he got traded to us.
Yep.
And Piazza was a big name back then when he was with the Dodgers, and nobody ever thought he was going to go away from the Dodgers or get traded. And when that happened and went to the Marlins, I was like, wow. And then he got traded to the Mets. I lost my freaking mind when I was younger, dude. I was like, I'm really going to be able to see Mike Piazza. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, that was huge. That was a big turning stone, a big stepping stone in the right direction for the Mets back then. That was huge.
Uh, if I have to
nice.
pick all time, I'm going with Keith. I'll keep the focus on Keith Hernandez. The definite most important part of getting that '86 team was getting Keith. I'll say Keith or Gary. Both amazing guys to get.
Yeah, those are
It's
huge.
hilarious
And a lot of
that when I thought of this, Ryan, it's because of the rain delay a few days ago, and they had the I am Keith Hernandez on SNY.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize everything that like what was actually going on with the team in '83 and what he solidified with the team going forward.
Yep.
So that's what made me think of that one. But since you said Keith, I'm going to throw a really odd one out there.
Juan
And
Samuel.
this player was only with the Mets for 3 years. And he helped solidify the team to get him to the World Series and solidify one of the best infields. And he got his ass kicked by Nolan Ryan.
Robin Ventura.
Robin Ventura. Just in '99, he was like the missing link on that infield with Olerud and Alfonso and Ray Ordonez. And he was
Yep.
able just to come in and bat behind Piazza, have a couple big years, and help them get Kenny Rogers. You're going to piss me off that '99 season, the final ball, but helped them get to the World Series in 2000. And I mean, Keith would have ultimately been my answer, and then you took Piazza, but there are other signings or trades that could be so minuscule at the time. Hey, you're getting a good all star player,
Frank Viola.
but what they end up doing for the team is sometimes just you can't predict that stuff. John, you are a chatty little guy today. I love it. Thoughts on Alvarez, Beatty, and Vientos? Here's my thoughts. Vientos might be the only one that's ready to try, and if Guillorme's out, we'll probably see him. You don't want to rush Alvarez. You don't want to rush catchers too quickly. You don't want to rush any player too quickly. Beatty just got promoted to AAA. Alvarez, yes, he's hitting home runs, he's doing all this stuff, but you got to worry about his defense, which they say he's doing a good job. But the question ultimately is not our thoughts on it and should we bring him up for the middle of the pennant race. The question is, do you think that they can handle the jump from AAA to MLB? Because it's a big difference.
I
Gentlemen?
mean, Tito, you go.
Um, I love the idea of bringing the kids up. I really do. Um, but and but with Alvarez, I do not want to rush him. He's gonna be a superstar in this league. If they do bring him up, I would like for them to DH him, not put him in a defensive situation, if at all possible. I would love to see his bat in that lineup. He would make our lineup that much deeper. But at the same time, I would hate to see him struggle. That would put a damper on it, and you know how the media is here in New York. They would get all over him, and we don't want his confidence to be shot. And you're right. The one that's really ready, both defensively and with the bat, is Ventos. He 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 would be the one to get a call up and say, hey, be that extra bat or be that extra fielder that we need if someone were to go down or defensive situations. But as far as Alvarez, only DH, I would say.
Totally agree. Just bring up
Now,
Vientos.
what I can really see with Alvarez, John, is next year, spring training, is Alvarez's shot. And if he makes the team, I could see the Mets parting ways probably with Nito. Just keeping McCann with his intelligence and everything he does is to mentor Alvarez. That one I can see. If Vientos does come up, he's batting 267 collectively, but he is killing left-handers, and that can be very important if he brings them up. Ryan, your thoughts? I'm sorry, I just
Nah,
my
you're
mind.
good, man. My only thought was just Vientos. He's the most ready. He's definitely spent the most time, at the higher levels. Beatty and Vientos, I'd prefer next year. I don't want their rookie year to be under the pressure of this is a year to win the World Series. I don't want those two to have to worry about that on top of just getting ready to play in New York. Some people can make that jump not a problem. I don't want that to possibly hurt them. So, Vientos, yes. The other two, give them a year.
With prospects, here's the interesting one though. The New York Mets are continuing to play Mauricio at shortstop. He's blocked for another 9 years, which makes me wonder, gentlemen, are they doing this as a showcase for him to try and trade him?
Probably.
Mm.
I mean, you have to play someone at shortstop down there. It's not as if you can be like, all right, we're not going to have anyone play at all. Someone's got to be there. You might as well let the kid play his natural position. And if he has to switch over to second, second is blocked too. There's no position we can swap him to in the infield where he's not blocked. So just let him keep playing his natural position. If he shines, then you can trade him for someone next year if need be, or in case of injury, you bring him up. But why ruin the kid to play other positions where he doesn't have a shot either?
That was gonna be my exact point. Injuries, unfortunately, are part of the game, and having somebody that can step in and take that position and maybe not play as good as Lindor or as productive as Lindor, but have someone that can come up and fill in. That's perfectly fine.
McNeil is a free agent, not this year. I believe the year after.
Hmm.
I believe we have him for one. Sorry, just answering John's question. He's not a free agent at the end of this year. He's a free agent at the end of next year. Another reason why I don't want to sign a guy like Judge, I would rather have three guys who hit 300 than one guy who does. I mean, I don't know. And McNeil's such a great clubhouse guy. He plays infield, outfield. I'm pretty sure he'd play catcher if we needed him to. He's just that kind of guy.
Well,
I mean, I
that
trust
that's
Guillorme at catcher first, but
and that's
So that
another thing I wanted to bring up to you guys. How about when Escobar went down and Buck was like trying to figure out who was going to play third, and I don't know if you heard the broadcasters. I think it was today. They said
yeah.
They were talking about McNeil, Alonso, Canna stepped up, McCann wanted to play, Nito. It was like everybody was like, "I'll play." That's freaking awesome, dude. That's like what you know what I mean. There's just that just shows the chemistry of the team, and everybody wanted to play and be in there. You know what I mean?
I could. I'll. I wish I gotta make a symbol for when I'm about to shit on this guy, and it'll have to be a button as long as he's a Met. But I know one guy that wouldn't jump up and down to play that position, Dom Smith,
Well, Ryan, it's funny because I have two
because he
questions
can't
for you,
jump up and
gentlemen.
down without hurting himself.
No, I have two questions for you, gentlemen. And the first one was I was going to say the big news that just happened with the New York Mets. Dom Smith has been assigned to AAA.
Hmm.
Good. Either learn how to play or get the hell out. I mean, once again, he had another article.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
it
I
is. It is
wasn't
true.
happy
John is
going to the
right.
ballpark. And,
By the way,
what's
John
that?
is right. Degrom did say he played third.
He did, and
He did.
Degrom was a shortstop in college, so he probably could get out there and do it.
That would have been awesome to see.
All right, John, Tito, Ryan. Here's my real question, though. Hold on, I got to pull up exactly what I was
You do
looking at.
you. I'm doing me at the same moment.
Don't you love when we have all these devices at our hands to pull up any type of statistic or thing we need at any time?
Oh,
Frankie
that's
Lindor, except he was batting 270, but after today, 268. 20 home runs, 81 RBIs. He's going to hit over 100 RBIs this year. He's playing a gold glove caliber shortstop. He struck out 97 times, which is a little high for. Actually, it's about on
he's
pace. It's a
30
little high
behind
for what he
Judge.
did. What's that?
He's still behind Judge. He said.
Sorry,
So here,
somehow I set off my Siri. If that
you're
caught
fine.
on over everyone.
So my question to you guys is: after last year, is this the player you guys expected when the Mets signed him to that long-term deal?
Yeah,
I'll go first, and he has 82 RBIs. So he already took over the shortstop all-time shortstop lead in RBIs. Reyes had 81. He has 82 now.
What I'm
Yes,
looking at didn't update the new RBI today.
yes. Um, like I said in previous lives in which I went on here, and also maybe even with you guys, the first piece to signing and make huge splashes and signings was Lindor. If we would have never signed Lindor, a lot of free agents would have never came because Lindor's here. A lot of free agents are here, and
it's very
they
true.
see the change. They see the change in the organization, and it started with Lindor. Lindor is the face of the organization right now, and that's exactly what we signed him for. And he's also putting up the numbers. And to be honest with you, if it wasn't for Alonso, he would be in the MVP conversation too. But Alonso right now is kind of running away with that, with what he's doing. So yes, to answer your question, this is what we signed him for.
Don't
Hmm.
mind me. I'm the guy who makes the graphics, and I'm doing something.
So what do you got to say about that, Pat?
I'm reading what John said, saying, it's amazing, John, as you're putting, yeah, he's doing all of this and then some.
Don't
Oh God,
mind
we're gonna
me.
have Dom talk. All right, Ryan, don't put him over my face right now. Um, the amazing thing, John, that I think Ron Darling pointed out today because they were talking about the stitches on McNeil's hand. When he broke his finger, Lindor missed one game and he played with a broken finger. I mean, you got to give it to the guy. What do I think about the whole thing? It really pisses me off a lot of times when people dive too much into the statistics of batting average
Mm,
because there's so many other things that make a great player. Yes, you want him to have a high batting average. Yes, you want him to be productive. But you mentioned face of the franchise, which you can make an argument. Is it Alonzo? Is it Lindor? Is it both? Is it Jesus Christ, Dom Smith, get off my screen? But he is who he is. And it's not just what he does on the field, it's his smile, it's his infectious attitude. It's, as you put out, validating the team to bring other players here. It's
Mm.
people gravitating towards him. And Andy Martino was writing an article today about how the Mets overpaid Lindor 200 million because of the Fernando Tatis contract, and the Mets, and he thinks that Lindor would have only been making what Baez is making, 140.
Why does he
mm,
suck as bad as Baez?
That's why I always say people look too much at the normal statistics and not what the guy does completely for not only the team but the community, the people. If a guy's going out there doing charity work, if he's doing events in the community, if he's stopping signing autographs, you see every Mets player, especially Lindor, regularly, right before the game starts, going behind home plate, behind the screen, makes people want to come watch him. It makes people want to be on the team. It's
Mm-hmm.
buying uniforms, buying merchandise, making money, making that $341 million back. And he's important to the team in so many aspects.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. By the way, Baez is currently batting 224 with 44 RBIs.
Oh yeah,
MVP.
yeah. Lindor should be making that amount. Yeah.
And I haven't heard him flip off the Detroit crowd yet, or thumbs down them yet.
Well, between Dom Smith whining and bitching to the media, Stroman not able to keep his mouth shut, Baez
Syndergaard
flipping people off. There's some really colorful people in the league.
and Syndergaard, and those are all just the ex-Mets.
I know that's the sad part about it.
In defense, they all used to be. This would have been the 1988 team when if you had those guys still all the team, where you're throwing firecrackers at people, having super soakers filled with bleach. That
Super
team,
super.
dude. Yeah, that was Brett
Woo!
Saberhagen. The Mets in the late 80s, early 90s turned Brett Saberhagen into a troublemaker.
The Midwest, the
Look, and
Midwest
don't
boy,
forget going
the
back
boy
to
next, the boy next door
Lindor
from Kansas
when he
City.
was when he was struggling. One thing that never wavered with him was his leadership and his
Hmm.
defense. Never. It hasn't. And I don't know if you guys saw. I think it was it was Saturday game. No, the Friday game where we lost. Diaz went up to Vogelback in the on deck circle and he said, "Hey, this is what this guy's pitches looks like.
Yep.
This is what he's throwing. This is what it looks like." That's leadership right there. That's a characteristic where you don't get in a lot of players because some players are selfish. They don't talk and they rather just say or quiet and they don't tell their teammates, "Hey, this is what this pitch looks like."
Hey,
That's what
there's
Lindor brings.
And there are some players who go the next step and they signal into what the next pitch is going to be from the dugout, beating up a trash can or setting a buzzer in.
So Ryan, did you see as a pitcher? Did you see Bassett's interview after the game today?
I did not.
So they were asking Bassett, "What's it like to sit there and watch Scherzer and Degrom on your days off?" And he goes, "It's great. Scherzer is who Scherzer is, but Degrom is just an alien.
Yeah,
He's one of a kind."
yeah. There are great pitchers, and then there's Jacob Degrom, who's just a freak at what he does. It's one of those. It's one of those things where baseball was granted this weird guy for a short amount of time, and we're going to enjoy it. You know, there have been some guys who had short runs, whether it be Gooden or Pedro, who had these electric short runs, and their whole career is good. But you look at like this 3 or 4 year window of just pure excellence, and he's got that. He's that guy. They're a once a generation.
It still really baffles me when Degrom he's coming out of college. He's coming out behind Chris Sale. Chris Sale was the guy coming out of college. Degrom was an afterthought.
That's what
Degrom comes
baffles
up.
you.
No, but Degrom comes up in 2014, and he's not even our. I don't even think he's in like the top five of our pitching prospects at that time.
He was supposed to be the bullpen pitcher, and Montero was supposed to be the starter.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
he comes out and he ends up winning the Rookie of the Year. I mean, that's what baffles me about Degrom is not that he's great. It's just that whatever happens to the guy, he just outdoes himself. He's out for 13 months. Most of the times, like that, pitchers when they come back, they're not the same in a negative way. Their velocity is not the same. They're not getting the same rotation on the spin on the ball. DeGrom comes out in his first start and he's taking 102 on the radar gun. And he's got a six slider at 96 miles an hour that people can't touch. I mean, the guy he's an alien. I'll
I
agree with Chris
mean,
Bassett.
rumor has it that Strasburg will be back sometime in the next 13 months.
Rumor has it. But on the
You
ground, 16 and two-thirds inning pitch, 3 games. He has allowed 6 hits, 3 runs, walked one, and has struck out 28 people, more outs than there is in one game for one side. It's 27 outs in 3 games, and he struck out 28. That is crazy.
All right. I just want to say so I'll answer the first question after this. DeGrom is the best pitcher of my life as well. Whether the freak or not, I mean, I can't forget about guys like Bumgardner and Lincecum, and there are
Yeah.
some. There have been some ridiculous pitchers in our lives, but he's the only one who's had it like lights out beyond even what they did. I thought Kershaw would be the best I ever saw in my life. Like as an adult, Nolan Ryan's still the best I ever saw in my life. But
I'm glad
the
you threw that word in there, Ryan, adult, because you start thinking about Doc Gooden's 84, 85, 86 seasons.
Yep, and like I
And
said, like I've been saying, the pitchers go on these 3 to 4 year runs of just insane pitching. Pedro had 3 years like that. He had 3 years like that. Degrom has had 3 or 4 years like that, and you don't see them often. And so you've really just got to appreciate them when they happen.
now, John, I'm going to put it this way really quickly as he keeps getting better. I'm not even going to use that whole corny stereotype people are going to use. I'm going to change it a little bit. DeGrom's like a great scotch. The older he gets, the better he is.
Well, the
He's
thing
not like a
is,
fine wine. He's like a great scotch.
he his slider is perfect. He has multiple pitches. He's not so many of the pitchers. I hate to put it this way too. We are at a time where you're striking out freakishly high numbers. The average batting average of the league, I think, is like 223 right now. So I don't
Mhm.
want to take away anything from him, but it's something that I've heard a lot of batters discuss and a lot of older pitchers talk about how right now you walk up, you strike out, no one looks at you, you go throw up a golden sombrero. Ain't nobody saying nothing. Aaron Judge, tonight, I got my alert, my wife's a Yankee fan, went 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. No one in the media is going to say, I can't believe he struck out 3 times tonight. No, it's
Yep.
perfectly allowable. And yeah, it's one thing that this generation of pitchers, I'm shocked there aren't more guys having amazing numbers because if everybody just walks up there and it's a home run or nothing for half the staff, for half the lineup, you should be able to rack up strikeouts. But not many people do.
Can we get a
There,
Syndergaard thing? Because I'm going to shit on him and I'm going to let Tito come off this
Ooh,
one.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You guys work on this one. I'll get this Syndergaard one.
let me just piggyback off of what Ryan was just saying. Every sport that we're seeing is going to the offensive side. Basketball has done it, football has done it, and baseball is now doing it with that ghost runner on second, more the strike zone, whatever you want to say. And Degrom is just pitching to that. What he's doing is he's taking the aggressiveness of batters that are chasing pitches, looking to hit fly balls, and is playing against them. And he's playing to it. Excuse me. That's exactly what he's doing. Good point, Ryan.
Now, Tito, that's what I was going to kind of bring up and why I'm going to shit on Syndergaard really quick again. The difference between Syndergaard and DeGrom is Syndergaard, he has the raw talent. He never learned how to pitch. But that's the difference with DeGrom. He knows how to pitch. If a pitch isn't working for him or somebody gets a good swing off on him, he adjusts very quickly. He knows how to work the zone from pitching inside to outside, pitching up in the zone. He knows when to waste one in the dirt. He's very intelligent when you watch him pitch.
If you listen to Zach Wheeler talk about why he became a better pitcher, he said it was because Syndergaard, it's not Syndergaard, Degrom told him how to avoid the big inning, and that's what turned it around. Degrom's career himself too. It was learning how to adjust. Hey, they got me. How do I stop the bleeding? And he said that was the number one thing he learned since he came into Major League Baseball was don't let this affect you because some people get that and they just fall apart.
Well, as Wheeler also talked about in that interview too, after coming back from Tommy John surgery, the reason his velocity went up and not down is DeGrom was one of the two pitchers that talked to him about how to use his lower body and push off better.
Yep.
And you could see the way Wheeler was doing that today because he almost had like an Oliver Perez kind of like little twist in his mechanics he never had before.
Oliver
And then
Twist.
please, sir, I want some more.
Sorry, I'm making literary references.
No, you're fine, but that's just my point is that he learned how to do that. Now, yes, John, everybody's swinging for the fences. As Tito kind of brought up, you see it in every sport. Football's got away from the dirty, gritty running backs getting those tough 1 or 2 yards to, hey, let's pass 40, 50 times a game. Baseball, home runs are sexy. That's what sells the game. The Mets are actually being the anti-modern, modern day baseball right now.
What do you think, Pat?
I should really take a picture of this and like tweet it and see if he replies to it. Oh, it disappeared.
I mean, I can put it back on. Give me 1 second. I'm just working on one of the things. That's the perfect size. I just got to roll with that for my other one.
So yeah, man, I tell people this all the time. If you look up the definition of baseball, excuse me, pitcher, the pitcher you will see next to it would be Greg Maddux. Greg Maddux could throw hard. He didn't need to. I would say Greg Maddux. And, a lot of people are not going to like that, but Thor is not a pitcher. Thor is a hard thrower, and when he got 2 strikes, he couldn't put people away, which is really strange. For him throwing as hard as he does, he just couldn't, and it's weird, man, seeing that.
It all
So,
depends on if he wants to evolve and continue his career. R.A. Dickey's probably one of the best examples of it. A
Yeah.
normal traditional pitcher that got hurt couldn't pitch the same way, so he learned how to throw a knuckleball.
and nobody
And
else is throwing the knuckle these days.
and oddly enough, somehow the friggin' guy figured out how to change speeds and do different things with the knuckleball. Which you talk about pitchers that had whether they were great pitchers or not that had a good 2 or 3 year run. Dickey had that with the Mets to a couple year run that won him the Cy Young, which evidently got us Travis Darno and Noah Syndergaard in that trade with Toronto.
Yep.
Yep.
Now, John, this goes back to a question you asked a while back. Will Escobar ever get hot? I honestly think that was kind of the point of bringing Guillorme in with the season he's kind of having right now to bat against right-handers because Escobar's natural batting side is right-handed against left-handers. I don't know if he's ever really gonna break out this season. Right now, I like Escobar, don't get me wrong, and I still think he does a lot of important things for the team right now. But I honestly think he signed a 2-year deal. He's a placeholder for Vientos or Beatty. That's what he
Yeah,
pretty
he's
much is
always
right
been that.
He's basically having the year that Lindor had last year, adjusting to a big market team. That's what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Hey, if
exactly what
Escobar
he's doing.
comes out next year and kills it, hell no.
Right?
Whatever happened to Rudy? Did he just like disappear?
I think he disappeared on us. But how about this huge series coming up?
Dodgers.
4 games against the Braves.
Oh, yeah, I this is not to be wrong, but I mean I've said this a few times. The Braves suck against teams that are above 500. We should. It's now. I'm starting to get the feeling like I have with my Bills now, where I used to look at our schedule and be like, oh, we got to worry we're facing that team. No, they have to worry they're facing us. The Braves are hanging on to the wild card. They have to worry that they're coming and they're going to face us 4 games. Is it 3 or 4 this time?
4.
4.
Uh,
They have to worry that they're facing us 4 times in a row. They can get hurt. We are more likely to hold on to our position than they are to get knocked down below. They are going to keep losing.
see, here's the wonderful thing. If they keep losing and the Phillies keep playing the way they did, disregard the series they had against the Mets, and the Brewers turn it on, the Braves can
Mm-hmm.
easily find themselves out of the playoffs. Now with the Mets, they got 4 against the Braves, 3 against the Phillies, 2 with the Yankees. They play Colorado, then they play LA for 3. After that end of August series against LA, the only over 500 team the Mets will be playing the rest of the year for all of September is Milwaukee.
Mm.
Not counting the last 3 games at the end of September against Atlanta, but hell, they may not even be over 500 by then. If they keep playing the way they do.
That's
So yeah, we got
fantastic because then you're great.
the Braves are 6 up on the Phillies and Padres. Oh, they're 6 up on the Phillies. Padres are they're 5 up on the Padres. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Milwaukee 7.5 back of Atlanta.
I still don't know why they traded Hader. It was a stupid move.
The entire team doesn't know why they traded Hader.
Well, I mean, I'm also not worried about the Padres. We went into that last time though.
Yeah, good point.
Hey,
They're the Dallas Cowboys.
maybe the whole team has ringworm. You never know.
Yeah, there's nothing. I hear there's nothing quite like treating ringworm with PEDs.
These guys.
All right. Well, I think we should call it a night pretty soon.
Yeah, we're about an hour on this. Hey
Yeah.
guys, we're gonna start bringing you this content every Sunday, like we did this Sunday and next Sunday, or this Sunday and past Sunday, excuse me. Try to be on next Sunday as well at the same time, at 9 o'clock Eastern. We'll start posting stuff prior to that, so that way you guys are aware and just not hopping on last minute. We see you guys still in here. Thank you for joining us. Hey, John, thanks for all the commentary, man. That was awesome. We
Yeah.
like
Great
answering
chatting,
questions
John.
and talking about. Yeah, for real. And then Rudy, I
Hey
don't know
John.
where you went. Thanks for joining us too, man.
Hey John, if you ever want to come on with us, just let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, that's we can do that too. And if that's good for anybody on here, to be honest with you, if you guys ever want to just hop on and talk, Mets talk, whatever it is, just shoot us a message. We'll find a way to get you on here. Ryan's a wizard with this stuff. He'll figure it out.
Takes me a minute, but I get it.
Yeah. You can see we don't have a whole lot of structure. We go off on tangents at time with everything. So
We're
All
Mets
right,
fans.
boys.
That's all you got to say.
Tito, you want to take us out for tonight?
Yeah, join us next week. And as always, thank you guys for having us on. Thank you for watching us, and let's go Mets.
Let's go, Mats.